Hello, Leo. Thank you for tuning in. For the main read, I'm going to use the Morgan Greer Tarot by Paul Foster Case and Arthur Edward Waite. Actually, there's the names, if you want to know. For the supportive cards, the Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. As usual, already shuffled. So, okay. I just did Aries, and I'm kind of thinking you might have a slow mover here, but maybe not. I feel like you might not be standing for that as much. That being said, your overall energy is the Page of Pentacles. I feel like this is a lot of slow moves. Now, I'm thinking this is going to be like wearing fairly quickly on you. I feel like this situation is plodding along whatever we're talking about, which I'm sure we'll figure out here in a minute. But I feel like the slow plodding of it, plodding along, is really not your thing. You're not really cool with that at all. And it's not like you don't want to be. It's just like it's not your natural flow. It's going against your natural flow, which becomes an issue. Okay, now. As we go into this time, we got the Empress and the King of Cups here. Now, I feel like you're trying to be as very caring and thoughtful, and you're trying to get along, I feel like, with someone else. You're trying to let it go at their speed. And I feel like they're the plodding one, plodding along slowly. And you're really, in the very beginning, you're just like, you know what? I can let them do that. I can do other things intermittingly. I can put in things like, I can amuse myself in other ways, basically, while I'm waiting for things to move on. It's fine. If it plods along, I'll be fine. It's no big deal. And I feel like you're trying to be very, you're trying to see the beauty in the other person, and you're trying to be very healing to the situation. I feel like if this is hitting for you, this is a situation where the other person, that's how they are. They plod along, and I feel like it probably has become a source of aggravation before, and there might have been conflict a few times in the past over this. So if this is hitting for you, I think that's kind of what we're talking about. Now, that being said, on their side, I really feel like you're trying to get along, but they're also trying to, I feel like they're almost trying to do it in a way that they feel like they can still keep their pace but make you happy. They're trying to take your advice but keep their pace at the same time. Okay. But I feel like there's a lot of I see the Page of Rods on their side, but I feel like the Page of Pentacles is kind of overcoming it in the sense of they might feel like they're moving a little faster than they usually do, but I don't feel like you're seeing it that way. And I almost feel like you might be looking at them like they're looking at options more than choosing and moving on an option. Okay. So this goes on for I don't feel like it goes on for very, very long, maybe a few days at most. And then the Justice card jumps in here, which means I feel like in this person's life, you might have a purpose of pushing things forward. You might just have that kickstart energy going on. And you might be like, you know what, nothing's ever going to happen if I just let you sleep through life and just let you drag yourself from one to the next. Nothing ever happens. So I'm kind of fed up with waiting. So let's do something. Something needs to happen. And I feel like you might have a moment where you just kind of might yell at them a little bit. Because you're just nothing's going to happen. If you just sit there and sleep through life, nothing's going to happen. Come on. And I feel like you might have a little bit of a moment. I say that because right after Justice comes the Tower. Almost like you're all right, I thought I was okay with this plodding along. I'm not. Move it. Let's go. And now Like, I feel like that's kind of how it comes across. Weird sounds happen in my house lately. This, like, they feel, I feel like it's like deer in the headlights on their side. They're just like, oh my god, now what do I do? And they just, instead of kicking it forward, they just kind of like stand there and do nothing. Like nothing happens. Instead of plodding along and at least having that sort of movement, there's like no movement for a moment there. I feel like this is a very short moment where they're just like maybe a day or two where they're just kind of like, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do now. And I feel like you might feel like this could have like I feel like you got the Ten of Swords here with the Page of Swords and then the Knight of Swords. So I feel like when this happens with the Tower, like you're feeling like it just happened again. Like the same thing that always happens with me and this person, just breakdown of communication because I just can't do it that way. I just can't. Nothing was happening anyway, and just this was not going to work out. I feel like you're feeling very defeated. Like you tried to do the best you could, but nothing was happening, and you're just like nothing was happening. And even though I feel like it was plodding along very slowly. To you, it was just the equivalent of like nothing. Like nothing can happen. It's going to go so slow that nothing's going to happen. That's kind of what I keep feeling here. Now, the Page of Swords with the Knight of Swords, I feel like the Page is trying to be... You're trying to have light communication in the beginning. Like right after this, you're just trying to... Like, I'm not very soon after, but fairly soon after. Not soon after? You try to get the thing going again. You try to move it forward. And when you try to be a little more cautious about communication, I don't feel like it's working, so you kind of kick it up a little bit, and you're like, all right, I know I freaked out on you, and I'm sorry, but really, we got to get moving. You got to make some decisions. It's like we can't just sit here and spin our wheels for our, spinning wheels doesn't do anything. So I feel like you're coming through again a little strong, but this time you're trying to balance it out and still trying to be caring, but you're trying to make a point. Like I can't just sit here and let you mull over things to the death of the situation. Like nothing's going to happen if you don't choose something. This is also on your side, authenticity. Like you tried to let them plod along, but it just was not working out. You couldn't do it because it was just nothing was happening. It keeps coming back. Like to you, nothing was happening. Even though it was like slow, gradual, you're just like, it was so slow and gradual that nothing would have come of it. So it was just a waste. So I do feel like when you're more, like, you're pushing still, but you're not you're not freaking out, I should say. It does get them to move forward and make some decisions, and you do get them to make a decision, at least part of it. You get it going. Because I feel like the Two of Pentacles is here, I feel like one of these is chosen. I feel like you get them to, like, at the very least, you get them to narrow down their options and start working on a few of them to, like, what do they really want. But I'm more feeling like, even though the Two of Pentacles is like juggling things, I feel like you're getting them to choose one or the other. Like you're like, all right, here's what I think you should do. One or one. Which one do you want? And you're getting them to like, really think about it and like choose one. And then prosperity happens on their side. Even though the way you work is not the way they work, in this situation it's helping them, it's serving them when you kind of push them forward. Okay. So, I'm going to say it with this card because I know this is going to come back to me. It's definitely a juggling act when you see this, or choices to be made, things like that. But with this one, I really feel like you're like honing it down. Like, what do you want? This or that? And you're getting them to choose one. I really feel like that's what you're doing with this card. And it does work out for them. I think the overall thing here, like, depending on when you're seeing this reading, if it's just you're in the beginning stages of this situation, you're in the middle or the end, especially if you're in the beginning, maybe you want to realize that you can't be over accommodating and you can't really go against your true nature. I feel like you're going to anyway, I have to be honest with you, but I feel like the whole part, like, even though you do this and I feel like you're being very accommodating and you're telling yourself it'll be fine, the whole purpose is to heal the relationship a bit. That's how you're feeling about it. And I do feel like even though you have a freak out here, I do feel like the fact that you're making that effort makes momentum in the healing. It does help. It does help the situation, because I feel like the other person is very well aware that you tried, but then when they kind of drag along, they realize that there's only so much you can do. Like, you are who you are, and they are who they are, but like they get the point that you tried, and the reason that you tried is what's important to them. I feel like if you see this in the beginning, maybe the point is that to realize that this isn't going to work out for you in the long run, so that way you don't end up freaking out and like having a fit, because I feel like it's going to really tick you off. Like, we're not making any movement. Like, you got to come on. Like, I really feel like there's kind of a freak out here. So if you see this in the beginning, maybe there's some way you could handle this a little differently, and just like realize that it's not going to be acceptable for them to go too slow. Even though they're going to have slow, steady success, to you it's going to be like wasted effort, because by the time they do make a decision, all the options would have passed them by anyway. So I guess being aware of that. It is going to work out, because I do feel like you're very helpful to them. They do need somebody to push them along a little bit more. But I feel like the more you're honest with yourself, where, I can't really allow things to go so slow that I feel like I'm not moving, that type of feeling, like, just being honest with yourself, I'd like to be able to go that slow as they are. I'd like to give them the space for them to go that slow, but it's not going to be comfortable for you. And you're not going to be able to go along with it. And once you become more comfortable and realize, that's not going to work, and you go forward with that, I feel like this will go more in line to what you need, and then you're going to be able to push forward a little easier. Because I feel like you're going to have to push them a little bit either. I feel like in the beginning you're going to try not to push, and that's part of the problem. It's because you're going to be like, I don't want to push. But then when it comes down to it, you have to push them forward to get moving. Although, by trying it their way, you do heal the situation. So I guess you have to make the decision on what's going to work out better for you. So maybe this is purposeful in that sense. But I think even if you go along with that, and you're going to give them that to help them see that you're trying, if you're aware that you're not going to be able to hold it up for long, I feel like it's going to make it easier on you going forward. Okay. I feel like I just rehashed that like 3 times in one sentence, but maybe not. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up here. If you'd like a direct reading from me, go ahead and shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.